welcome back to the Neighbors Podcast. I'm your host, Allie Parsons. And you guys, it is football season, which for those of you who know me really well are probably thinking you're a terrible football fan. We know you don't actually follow sports very well. But I'm trying really hard this season to be a good Jags fan and a good Clemson Tigers fan. So it only felt right to kick off this football season with one of my friends, also NFL player and Clemson Tiger alumni, Tyler Shatley. Tyler he's so many things, but he is on the O-line for the Jags. He's been a Jags player for over 10 years, and he is from North Carolina, hilarious, a bit of a renaissance man, so much more to him than just football, although we talk a lot about football because the NFL has taught him some incredible lessons, but he is a husband to Natalie, he is a dad to 3 amazing kids, and his little nuggets of wisdom about what the NFL has really taught him about parenting and being a husband and using his platform as an NFL player to share the gospel and love people really well is so inspiring. I know you're going to laugh at this conversation because he is absurd. He didn't fit in these green chairs, which if you listen, we sit in these green chairs, and he definitely wasn't going to fit. He's 300 pounds and 6'3", and so we had to break out the love seat couch for him to sit on to fit his size. So he is just such a joy to have. Here is my conversation with Tyler Shatley, and go Jags. All right, Tyler Shatley, welcome to the Neighbors Podcast.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I am so excited that you're here. You are a legendary Jacksonville Jaguars football player.
I'll take it.
But what I love more about you than being a Jags player is you are a fellow Clemson Tiger,
yes,
which is my alma mater too. And you are so committed to the Clemson Tigers that when I was communicating with you leading up to this podcast, you still use your g.clemson.edu email.
Absolutely.
At 32 years old. Why is that?
I don't really know what else to do. I mean,
there's like Gmail.
People, but what if I change it? It's kind of like changing my number now. It's like, would people know how to
ingrained.
Would people know how to get a hold of me if I change from my Gmail account?
From your
Or my g.clemson.
Come on.
Yeah.
I just thought that was so hilarious when I said you are not still using your g.clemson. It's been now 10 years.
But when do you change? Like, did you change it?
Immediately when you graduate.
How do you know how to do that stuff immediately when you graduate?
You just make a new email. It's so simple. You literally just make a new one, and then
that was on your list of things. Like, all right, I've graduated college. Like, things 100%. I need to do. Change my email.
100%. That's on my list. Okay. Anyway, okay. This is comical coming from me because I'm not a very big or good sports fan. I love the Clemson Tigers. I love the Jags, but I'm really not very good at watching sports. But how are we looking this season for the Jags? I hear a lot of rumbling like Super Bowl.
I mean, I don't want to get into predicting things, but we're looking good.
We're looking good.
We're looking good. That's what
you're going to leave it at.
It's going to be, It's going to be exciting. Good time to be a Jags fan.
It is a good time to be a Jags fan because you're there. So this is also my first year ever. I have a fantasy team, which This is truly comical because I know nothing about football, but I couldn't be there for the draft. And so my friend, she was like, I'll do the draft for you. And I said, well, all I care about is I want Tyler Shatley and my other friend, Josh Wells. And she said, well, that's not like exactly how fantasy football works because their O-line, they don't like get as many points or something.
I don't know if we get any points.
This is ridiculous. I want to like petition to the fantasy people that I feel like you should be able to get points somehow, not like literal points necessarily, but like I want you to be on my team and somehow I get credit for that. I think it's kind of rude. It's like some people can be on your team and some can't.
Right, like some people score touchdowns and get points. Like, what is that? Like, we should get points for like butt slaps and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like some attaboys.
This is what I'm saying.
High fives,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was really disappointed, but hoping for a good run this year. Okay. There's a lot to you beyond football. We'll get into it. You're a husband, a dad, quite a renaissance man creatively. So we'll get into all of that. But the first thing I want to ask you is, what is something that you believe in that is an unpopular opinion?
So I was thinking about this. I would say one, and this is just a raw thought. I haven't thought it through completely how it would work.
Perfect.
But I truly think that we should end social media.
Well, hot take.
I'm telling you. Shut it down. I understand that is like a lot of people's livelihood. We're doing a podcast, and you probably need social media too. But no, honestly, though, like I feel like it does. There are good things, but it does so much bad too. I was just thinking about this before I left the house. Actually, I was talking to talking to the kids. Like we were like just corralling the kids, trying to get everybody like situated before I left. And because you'd sent me some of the questions, I've been thinking about it, and I thought about, man, like when, like, because like kids are going to grow up, and like, I feel like they're getting social media at a younger and younger age, and maybe that's what I'm thinking more is like maybe it should be like a later age, like you shouldn't get social media until you're like, I don't know, 30 or something, until you're taking selfies like 30. With you're holding a phone like this, and you know what I'm saying?
Sure. Still rocking your college email address.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's my thought.
Yeah, maybe where your brain's like fully developed and you can actually
was that 24, 26 or something?
20s, yeah.
But I feel the same way with kids. Like maybe it's just smartphones in general.
Yes.
You know, just quit doing those. Everybody get some
flip phones.
Walkie-talkie. Yeah, flip phones.
Walkie-talkie's even better.
Yeah. No, I truly feel like that's. I think it's a problem. Like,
yeah,
I don't think we are meant to have that much access to information.
For sure.
You know, Natalie, my wife, for those who don't know, but she sent me a quote. I don't know who it was from, but they were talking about with social media and then like the access that we have to information now. We're essentially like playing God.
Yes.
Like we are now aware of not just like the problems in our circle, but like the problems everyone's having everywhere. And like
we control how people perceive us. That also gives us weird like godlike traits.
Yes.
We only have to put out what we want to put out. It's not the full story. Like that's a little scary.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think I don't think we're wired to live that way. And I'm saying all this as someone who struggles with it, like,
sure,
because it's very easy to come home and just like, you know, like, I mean, you've been wrestling the kids all day and you're like, I want to do something so mindless. And then you're just addicted to that little thing on your phone. And
then you get the notification that your screen time was like 3.5 hours. And sometimes I get it and I think, how?
Right.
There's no way I was looking at my phone that much today. And that's how much it just is so habitual. We don't even realize how much time we're actually doing.
Yeah. It's almost embarrassing.
It's definitely embarrassing.
Maybe that's what we need to do is just like, you need to have like a ticker like across your forehead. Like, I've been on my phone for 6 hours today.
Just displaying your screen time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned Natalie, and you guys are high school sweethearts, which is rare in this world and such an unbelievable feat. Which means you've been through lots of seasons, lots of life changes together. I'm sure there have been hard seasons. What has it been like to be on this journey, especially as a professional athlete with your high school sweetheart? So because you're probably kind of like, you know, you weren't anyone like big in high school. You were a football player for sure. But now, you know, you're a professional athlete.
Right.
So, you know, you're kind of like a big deal. But what has this journey been like?
It's been awesome. It's nice too that like you said, like being with the same person through it all, because I mean she's truly seen it all. You know, like you said, from going into high school and then, you know, all this stuff through college. You know, we actually went to she went to UNC Charlotte, I went to Clemson, and that was, I mean, it was tough, but it was also, I think it was good for us to kind of do our own thing, so that way, because I can't tell how many people I know that like went to college with boyfriend, girlfriend, and then, you know, like you just change so much in college.
Sure.
And there's such a tension of like, I know so many guys that'd be like, well, I gotta hang out with my girlfriend like every single night, and then like you get that tension with the guys. And obviously in college, like where at least I was very immature, and like that probably wouldn't have gone well, and like I would have not handled that well. And
your schedule as a collegiate athlete is also
Right.
so grueling that it's almost like a full-time job too.
Right.
So then to also be juggling like a relationship that's
Yeah.
evolving and
Yeah.
all of that.
And like once again, like even at that stage, like I just don't even know if. Obviously, I'm glad that it worked out. Like I would not change anything, but I don't know if I was ready, like mature enough to have like a serious relationship.
Sure.
Even in college, like and at the time I thought I was. You know what I'm saying? Just like in high school, I thought I was mature enough, and then now I've gotten older. I'm like I was extremely immature, and like I was not ready to have the weight of like that. You know what I'm saying?
Did y'all get married right out of college?
We did.
Okay.
So right after, it worked out really well for anyone listening that's looking to, I don't know, like I mean maybe you want this big long drawn out process, but we got engaged. Let's see, I got out of college. We got engaged right after the draft. So like the day after, I went to OTAs, which was at that time we'd already met, so it was like 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and we got married when I got back.
Is that like a training OTAs?
Yeah, so like it's like spring ball, if you will. So yeah, we were only engaged for like 6 weeks. I think.
You got engaged the day after the draft. You left for 5 weeks for training. You got back. You got married.
Yes.
Amazing.
It was great.
And then where'd you move to?
Then we moved back down to Jacksonville.
Oh, you came straight to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So you've been with the Jags this whole time.
Yeah.
Your whole career.
This will be number 10. Yeah.
Okay, so what about, which I hope Natalie's on the podcast at some point. I just adore her, and has so much wisdom and is so incredible. But if you were to speak kind of on behalf of her, what is, as a wife of a professional athlete, what is like some of the weight that she carries, or like what are the things that you admire about the way that she partners with you in this career that you've had?
I feel like she does so much. I mean, for one, she's put so many things on hold because of the instability of my job. I mean, and I say all that, like, I've been in the same place for 10 years, like, but that's very uncommon.
Right.
It's very uncommon to play 10 years. But she's put so many things on hold, and like, I mean, I'm just so appreciative of that. She does such a great job too of, one of the hard things that's about the NFL is guys are constantly in and out. I mean, I don't, in the 10 years I've played, there hasn't, like in the offensive line, so there's usually about 10 guys in the room, and every year it's a different shuffling. There's like some of the same guys. I've been with some of the same guys for a while, but there's always some kind of difference, and that's hard. And it's also hard for her because, she's making friends with a lot of the wives and girlfriends, and then they're moving on. And that's another thing she did a very good job of, was like she was the leader in us making friends outside of football. And most
which
of
I'm sure is super important.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because
there's so many people moving around. So it's nice to have that community outside of football, and she's done that. And then also, during the season, I mean, there are times where like during training camp, I'm gone. I'm at the hotel every day during training camp. So for a month, like it's just her, like solo dolo on with the kids.
And you have 3 kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's way outnumbered.
Yeah. And she's crushing it though.
She is crushing it. All right. So where did your love of football come from? Like, how did you, and like, when did you realize, okay, I'm actually good. I think I could make something out of this.
I've just always played it. I guess I played like a lot of sports growing up.
Yeah.
My dad played football in high school, and he played in college. And so I guess like there's partly like just that, like I was like, oh, I just want to be like my dad. And then there's also there was like some expectation too with my dad played, and he played in college, and he was a good player. And then I was always bigger than everyone. Like I was always just like a bigger kid. So like there's like the expectation of like, oh, like you're gonna play. And then, like, I always had that expectation of, oh, like, like every kid thinks, like, if you go out there to, like, the Jack's Developmental League or whatever and ask every kid, like, they're like, no, yeah, I'm going to play in the NFL. I'm going to play for the Jags. Or, like, I'm going to play baseball or whatever. Like, they truly believe it. I don't think it was until later on that I realized, like, this is not normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, It's like you don't realize until you're out of it, like, how naive you were to think that you were going to do it.
Yep. And then it actually starts happening.
Right. And then, especially, when you get to the NFL, like when I got to the NFL, that's when I was just like, and just, see so many guys getting cut and like moving on. a lot of guys that I played in college with that were very good football players, you know. And I was like, oh man, like I don't feel like I truly realized like how special it was until then. So yeah, I would say that.
So
like,
what does it take? Because raw ability is
Mhm.
for sure a part of it.
Yeah.
But what are some of the other traits? I mean, to stay at any job for over 10 years is impressive. What are the other qualities do you feel like that you've learned over the years of like why have you stuck?
I mean, I don't know if it was. There's obviously like you said, raw ability. Then being able to like learn different, like just being able to learn. I know, unfortunately, like in the past, like we've had a lot of turnover with coaches and stuff, and so being able to like learn because like every coach does something different. You know what I'm saying? Takes their own spin on things. I think that was a big thing was just being coachable and just being like, I mean, it's almost like I feel like it can be very easy to be prideful and be like, no, like I know best. Like I'm the athlete here. Like I'll do what I think's best. But you know, laying down that and just being like, all right, you've got something to teach me. Like clearly you've done it before. Like, you have to being coachable, being available, just like taking care of your body, and then also like. I mean, like I'm saying all these things, but it's also like there's luck and there's like divine intervention involved.
Sure.
I mean, I know a lot of guys that were very good football players, but for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've really realized since I've been in the NFL is that if I'm supposed to be here, like if this is where God wants me, this is where I'll be. Like I could play as good or as bad as I want, and if this is not where I'm supposed to be, I won't. And if it is, this is where I'll be.
So much peace in that. That's applicable to all things in life.
Absolutely.
Right? So much peace and contentment in saying, God has opened this door, so I'm going to walk through it. And when he closes it, it's not, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to play my part. But ultimately, yeah, he's in charge of the steps that I take.
That's what, and like, it's funny because my rookie year, when we do like the Saturday night, we'll do like a chapel before the games. Before the last preseason game is when they, like, after that, they cut like essentially half the roster.
Oh, wow.
And there's a guy, a receiver got up, and we always did this thing where when we do the last chapel, he would like open it up for guys to talk. And one of the receivers, he got up and he told that story about, I guess it was his rookie year, same thing kind of thing. He'd been hurt, I think. And he was nervous. He was talking to his dad. He's like, I haven't played enough to like get any good film out there for them to like keep me. And his dad told me, he's like, it's not up to them. Like, that's not like, if you're playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars or any other team, like it's not up to the coaches or the GM. Like, if God wants you there, like you'll be there.
Yeah.
And I remember like hearing that and being like, oh, holy cow, like what peace there is in that.
Freedom, yeah. To just do what you want to do what you know to do best, and know that God is going to handle the rest of it.
Right. And not to say that you can just like flippantly go about it and be like, oh, I'm good, because like you still need to like do your part, like prepare and whatever else that means. But it is nice. Like there's like some freedom knowing that like I can prepare as much as I want to, and if it's not going to work out, it's not going to work out.
Sure. All right, so what are the best parts about being in the NFL, and what are the hardest parts?
I'd say some of the best parts are just the group of guys I get to be around, because I just feel like in no other circumstance would I be around such a diverse group of people, like guys from all over, like different backgrounds, especially in the offensive line. So we have like there's about 10 to 12 of us in there in that room, and like I mean it's just the most fun. Like I can imagine, like we have such a good time, and like I said, like everyone's so different, but like we're all working, like we all have the same goal, and so it brings us all together, and it's just cool to get to like, just be around different people. Because I mean, like I hate to say it, but like if I wasn't playing, like I'm naturally gonna like find like, these guys like they like to fish and they have a couple kids and they don't like to stay up late, like, and then we'd all just like. Sit around and just get old and grumpy together, but like, it's cool too. Cause like there's young guys that like don't have any kids and they're still like just burning both ends, you know what I'm saying? And like, there's like, sometimes you need that to kind of like, all right, like, no, I can stay up. Like 9:30 is not that late. Like, okay. I'd say some of the hard parts is like guys going in and out. It is physically demanding, and then I think one of the hard things too is just having like my work put on display for everyone to criticize.
Yes.
And like, it's not even like I think it's just like, yeah, it's like the videoing of it. Like there's like times that it's like, you'll be like watching it and it almost seems so, like we're like watching our footsteps, like, or like our footwork, and it's just like, all right, like you're a little bit short, like on your, like
so specific.
it's so specific, or like where your hand goes, like, and like there's times that it just feels so like overwhelming, and like unfortunately I can like carry that home sometimes where it's like, you know, I've been like
this microscope view
and it's just like, it's so much. And then like, you know, I get home and the first, like, I'm just like, no, I'm not open to any kind of like, hey, can you do the dish? I'm like, or like, you didn't, is that how you want to load the dishwasher? I'm like, I just had my whole day critiqued.
Sure,
like,
sure. Oh, that's so
just throw the dishes in, the water goes everywhere in there.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
That is
but
so interesting.
That's good. And then like, one of the things I've thought about, and like this is more kind of down the road, but like sometimes I worry about with me playing in the NFL, the pressure that Boone, my oldest son, and my youngest son, Boone and Deacon, I worry about the pressure that they'll feel to also do something, to play sports, because I know that, like, I know growing up I felt pressure from coaches and stuff, be like, oh, your dad was a good football player, you're big, like, you should, like, you need to be this good, or like you need to like meet this standard. And I really worry about that for Boone and Deacon, that like, if they don't, like, I don't want them to grow up thinking like, oh, I gotta be an athlete or something because dad was, and because this coach or this person is telling me like, well, you'd be good at it, so you should do that. Like, I want them to like feel the freedom to like know that they can do whatever they want, you know?
It was so cool. We were at a kid's birthday party together, and one of the dads and I were talking, and he said, we were talking about your oldest son, Boone, and he said, yeah, it's so incredible. He's so creative. He's good at art, and he gets that all from his dad. And it made me pause, and I'm like, isn't that so funny? That's like shocking to me, because you look at you and you're an NFL player and you're this big guy, and I'm like, how beautiful that there's so much more, and your son is getting that.
Yeah.
That like, okay, yeah, he's getting all of his creativity from his dad, because there's so many layers to it, which is so beautiful. And I think what you're saying is so relatable to so many parents, whether they're at, you know, a level like we're talking about, you being in the NFL, but that pressure that we feel as parents, we want our kids to feel the freedom to find what they're good at and what they love.
Yeah.
And it is such an interesting balance. You know, like, I work full-time vocationally for the church, but like, I want our kids to love the church. I don't want them to grow up feeling bitter towards the church because their mom spent so much time there. And it is such a fine line. So do you have any advice on how you guys navigate that, or how you walk that line of, I want you to be and do whatever you want to be, but also, you probably have some good raw athleticism in you that we could tap into.
Yeah. Honestly, we just open it up to him. Like, we'll try to encourage him to do things, but like, I think any kid is going to naturally want to do what their parent, like what mom, especially like for boys, like they're going to like look at dad and be like, I want to do whatever dad's doing. Like, I can remember me, like, you know, like, I knew my dad played football. I want to play football. I remember, this is crazy, but like, my dad used to like walk on the outsides of his feet, and all of his shoes would be like worn down. And so I would walk like that. Like, I would like change the way I walked to walk like my dad. Cause I was like, oh, like, I want to look like dad. And like, so like, they're like watching us.
Right.
You
Sponges.
know, they're sponges. And so I would just say like, and not to use that information, like, oh, like, I want my kid to be a super athlete, so I'm going to start like, you know, just do what you love, and like, they'll probably, and then like give them the freedom to do what they love.
Yeah. So good.
You know, because ultimately, like, I can't tell you how many guys I know, and like, and I've kind of fallen into this sometimes too, is that like, they're doing football or whatever because it was expected of them, or because it's like, well, this is just the ladder that society has provided and said, like, this is the ladder that you want to climb because it'll give you fame and like fortune and success. But like, there's so many guys that are miserable, that are just like, they have all the money in the world and everyone knows their name, but like, they go home and they're just like, they're not happy. Like, I just can't imagine that for like especially now that I have kids, like I can't imagine them feeling that, and I don't want them to feel that. And like, and I'm saying all this because I also struggle with it, because it's funny, like now that I've talked so many times about like I can already see, especially in Boone, patterns that he'll have like anxiety over like sport. He does all kinds of sports, but he was doing karate, and we were getting ready to go one day, and we hadn't been in a while, and he starts he starts panicking in the car. He's like, I don't remember like the warm up, like, and I was like, well, that's fine, buddy, just do it. And he was like, but like everyone will like know that I don't know, like they'll laugh at me. And like I told Dan, I was like, where did like what in the world? He's 6, and he's already like feeling anxiety and pressure to like perform for other people. But like he gets that from me, because like,
wow, I
don't know, and from her too. But like in some way, they're smart. Like kids are smart enough to like watch and be like, Dad's putting a lot of time into this. Like it's because he doesn't want to look stupid, and when he does it, and like they're picking up on that. Even though I don't say that, like they can read patterns and be like,
sure,
this means a lot, and it means a lot because Dad wants someone else to like think that he's doing well. You know?
Wow, that's a powerful word. And so, I mean, yeah, that applies to anyone really. I mean, even not a parent to child relationship, but people pick up on what is important to you, even if you don't think that you're being explicit in it. How you spend your time, what you talk about the most often, like these are things that people pick up on about you. And if you're someone that they look up to, or you mentor them or something, like they're gonna start to say, okay, well, if they're doing that, then I'm gonna start playing that out. And so it is, I mean, there's such a responsibility to really steward whatever God's placed in front of us to show people like how to go about it in a healthy and edifying way.
Exactly.
Which you do that too. Your platform is incredible. Like you mentioned, you're around so many different types of guys from so many different backgrounds. And I know that football is your vocation, but it's also your mission field.
Right.
And so how do you apply that? How do you go in every day, and how have you seen God move as football being your mission field?
One of the things that I've felt lately is just going in and like just loving on people, especially it's just been so cool to get to this point in my career, because I'm able to like see guys going through the same things I remember going through, and being like, man, like let me help you through, like let me get you through that quicker, like just let her buy the rug, because like you're gonna get a rug either way.
It's just not
that's not the battle you want to win. You know what I'm saying? Or like, like I'm joking, but I'm like that's like an honest thing. Like I see, like I hear guys having the same arguments with their wife that I've had, and like I feel like I know. I'm like, hey man, like that's not one you want to win. It's not gonna get you anything. She's gonna be mad, then you're gonna be mad, and then like there are times I'm like, that's one you want to win, like or not win, but like
worth having.
You want to have more discussion on that. You want to push back on that one. And then the same thing too with like guys and like with kids and stuff, you know. And that's like what I love too about Natalie is just so like she's great with the kids, and it's cool to be able to like when you see guys with kids for the first time and like they have no idea.
Right.
Even like we didn't have any idea. And I feel like Natalie knew so much. Like she was. I don't know where she learned all this information about like pediatricians and stuff. Like, how do you, like I still got my Clemson email, and she's like setting up.
She's like reading texts.
She's getting shots for the kids and stuff. Like, how do you know that?
She's so advanced.
She's very advanced.
She is advanced.
But being able to like help those guys out, just pour into those guys, and then also being an older guy in the room. Having some like pull, like I know this off season, it's just so cool to see at church. Like I think there was one day like we probably had 6 or 7 guys in the
I know. I said,
line.
what is going on? Why are all these large men with all these kids here?
Yeah.
And Natalie was like, "Oh, we just invited a bunch of our friends from the Jags."
Right, and it's just cool because like we can almost take up like a whole row at the church.
Several rows.
It's so cool. It's just it's
awesome.
cool to do that, and it's cool because like there's been so many times where like. It felt like a nudge to say something to somebody or invite somebody to church, and then later on, hey man, like I appreciate that because I was struggling, or like we didn't do that at the last team I was at, you know. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, like for like just anytime, it's just cool to feel that nudge and be like, oh yeah, no, that was.
And that you're not coming in with fire and brimstone
Right.
on your bullhorn telling everyone to repent and turn to Jesus.
Right.
You're honestly just walking alongside people in life, because no matter where you're at, when you have a kid or you get married, like some of the struggles are just some of the same struggles. And so just coming alongside people and then that leading to doors opening, inviting them to
Right.
church, or just being that person that they then go to in a time of need.
Yeah.
So then they're getting a source of truth, even if they don't know that you're pulling from biblical truth.
Right.
They know you're a sounding board and someone who can give wise counsel, even if they don't know where it's coming from, which is so powerful.
And that's what, like it's so funny because, especially guys that like haven't been to church before, and it's so easy just to like use sermons, like just
You're just like quoting.
I'm
sermons.
literally just like
You're
quoting
wow.
sermons like Joby, and then they're like, oh, man, that's so deep. I'm like, yeah,
Thank
man,
you.
like
I'm super deep.
if you ever,
Email me
if
at
you
this
ever,
dot
yeah,
G dot
yeah,
comes and not
yeah.
edu.
If they ever go back and like watch any of Joby's sermons, they're like, oh man, like
Tyler is so full of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so beyond football, you have some other passions and loves.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other sides of you outside of football?
I would say my favorite thing is fishing. Love to get out there.
That was the one thing I read your bio on the Jags website, and it was so funny because it was so many really specific statistics about your football career, and then the very last line says he's an avid fisherman.
Really? I love it.
It's like the whole thing is just like football. It did say like married to Natalie and they have kids and whatever, and then the very last line is, and he's an avid fisherman. Like, this is very important.
I love it. It is. It's so much fun. I love going out there. Like I said, it's another thing too that's like cool to do with like Boone's getting into it.
Yes.
It's just so cool to watch that. It's cool because like it's something we can do. Like there's time like he'll like want to play football or something, and I'm just like, buddy, like I'm so tired right now. Like it is 98 degrees.
I can't do another football.
I'm not chasing. Like you're fast now. Like with like Deacon or Sutton, like they're still
your 1-year-old.
Yeah. He
still beat him.
I can still get him. Yeah. Even Sutton, I had to like, kind of like hit like a real jog now to like catch up to her. I'm like, dadgummit, man. Like
she's got some athleticism in her for sure.
Yeah, but she's more of the one that just like wants me to hold her, and like, which is fine. But I'm also like, it's hot. Like,
it's 100 degrees.
It's 100 degrees. You get off me. But I like that. I like doing. Natalie's gonna. I enjoy woodworking and like building things, like kind of like we're talking about. Like I love like building things and like doing like I don't know, it's like crafts and stuff.
Big craft guy.
Big craft guy. Yeah.
You're also really nice handwriting.
Thank you.
Where did that come from? Yeah, one time I saw you write this poster. Our friend was running in a race, and we were making posters, like a bunch of women. And then I look over and I'm like, who made this one? And you just raise your hand. I'm like, your handwriting is nicer than anyone here.
That's what I'm saying. I love crafts like that. I love like getting to just like write ridiculous things and like come up with like all these slogans and stuff. Like that's my thing. Throw some. I love it. Yeah, I don't know. I guess like I don't know. Maybe my mom. She has nice handwriting. My mom's super artistic too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you really got both the athleticism and the creativity going in there.
Yeah.
So, as a dad, how would you describe yourself as a dad?
Maybe like Natalie's oldest child, but
yes,
yeah. No, I feel like
that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm definitely like when I'm home, we're doing stuff. I'm the early riser. That's where like Boone and Deacon are also early risers. Sutton's more like Natalie, like where they'll sleep in and like they're more like let's just chill on the couch. Like me and Boone and Deacon are more like, all right, it's 7:15. Like, what are we doing? Like, we need to go. We could have gone to Ace Hardware by now, you know. Like,
right.
That's a great play. I love taking the kids in there. It's just like nothing I need, but
nothing.
But it's all
so many crafts.
So many crafts. So many opportunities.
Do you feel like the nature of your job has led you to be better at being present when you are home?
I think so. It forces you to be present because there are a lot of times when I'm gone. Well, I say that and like I think there's so many people that like you work a 9 to 5 year round, you get I don't know how like 3 weeks off for vacation or whatever. Like I feel like a lot of times like you said, it's easy to fall into that trap of like, well, like we've got time, and then you look up and you're like, well, it's been a year and we never took that vacation or did that thing, or I never took the kids to that park.
Yeah.
I feel like that is what's one of the nice things about the NFL is that like it is busy for like 6 months out of the year, but then there's like another 6 months out of the year where like we do have time to like go travel and like.
So you get to have good rhythms.
Go
Sure.
Just go walk around, play in the woods. Like kids love that.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's all we do. Is like, I mean, just we built a fort, and like this was like last year. I think like me and Boone and Sutton went out in the woods, and like they just like they put like 3 like sticks up against a tree, and they got under, it, and they're like, we got a fort. I mean,
kids are
absolutely.
So pure.
Yeah.
It's like a terrible fort.
Yeah, no protection. Like there was no
Zero.
shelter. We just starved. Like we hadn't had breakfast yet. We just starved in like 10 minutes. Like we were having a good time though.
Oh, it's so good. So looking back on your now 30-ish years of life, what is the hardest season that you've been through and what have you learned from it?
I would say raising the kids has been the hardest. And more so like here lately, I feel like at first, you know, like when you first have a kid, it's hard because you're not getting not getting enough sleep and you're like, what in the world is going on? But when they're babies, you're like, they sleep all the time. And I remember like, we used to like binge watch. We could still like binge watch TV. It was like a good excuse to like just stay inside, you know?
Sure.
And then once we had Sutton, that's when then you're like, you have that thought of like, I can't believe I thought I was busy before. Like this is crazy. And then like I had that thought too, like then it turns into like, you know, Natalie was taking care of her when she was a baby. And then I would take care of Boone. And then I had that thought of like, man, I felt bad. I felt bad for like thinking Natalie wasn't doing anything at home all day. Like, and then once we had Deacon, that's when I'm like, what in the world is going on? There's so many kids. Someone's always awake. You know?
True.
Like it used to be like we could get them nap times like lined up. Now it's just like
no,
they're like staggered, and then you're nap trapped where like one goes down this time, then they get up, but then the next one goes down. Then I say that this has been the hardest, but it's also the most rewarding because you get to see it. But then like recently too, like I said too, like with the kids, you're just so aware of all of your like shortcomings once you have kids because they start acting like you, and you're like, oh my gosh, like you learned that from me.
Yeah.
Like I'm teaching you bad things.
Sure.
Like, that's not good. And then just the thought of like, kind of in a similar vein of like with football, you know, like I said, like they're videotaping like from like multiple angles, like everything we do. And you're like, I had no idea like someone could have that many like opinions on how I do block this guy. But in the same sense, like, our kids are watching every single thing we do and they're picking up everything. So then now I'm like, I can't just be like flippant anymore about like how I live my life. Like everything has to be like just intentional. Yeah. Like everything has to be intentional because there's 3 kids watching and they're watching what I do. And like what I do is shaping how they're going to think about the world when they grow up, and it's shaping like how they're going to interact with people. It's going to like I'm messing them up in some way, just the way like my parents messed me up and the way their parents messed them up.
Sure.
And like, you know, we think that like, oh, I'm gonna try to do better, but like we can't do it perfectly. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about like God is our heavenly Father, like the perfect Father, and like we're all messed up. Like what do you think we're going to do to our kids? Like, because I'm jacked up, and like I know that Boone and all that and Sutton and Deacon are watching me, and just like they're learning from me.
So what does it look like to live a life of intentionality?
I think you can't think about it too much in the sense of like, that's one thing I've realized lately is that like I would always think, all right, like I need to act this way so that way Boone sees this or Sutton sees this, but it truly is. It's cool the way that we are designed, the way kids soak things up. It's like if you just do your best to live within the guidelines that God has set up for you, like that's the best thing you can do. Because the kids, I heard a friend say this, like with kids, more is caught than taught. And so I could go home every day and be like, all right, Boone, like one day you're going to have a wife and you need to do this and that, and you need to like help her with this. And even more so with Sutton, I could be like, you know, first time a boy comes over here, I'm going to scare him off. And, but like, if I haven't modeled a good husband, like she's not going to know what she's looking for. Or like, I can tell her all I want, but like, she's probably going to find a husband or a boyfriend that treats her the same way I treat Natalie. And so for me, like I said, just like living within those and being like, all right, like the best thing I can do for my kids is love Natalie well, help her out around the house, take care of the kids too, because it's not just like, I think I've seen this so many times especially on social media, and I'll hear it from guys in the locker room, man, like I had to babysit the kids, and it's just like, okay, they're your kids too, though. Like, yeah. And like I've said that before, like, or like I'm on dad duty. It's like, or you're just a father, like, right. And I like I said, like I've said all these things too. But it's just so hard because like, what is that telling our kids? Like, yeah, well, dad doesn't usually take care of the kids, so when he takes care of them, like, well, now we can get away with more stuff because this isn't his like thing. But yeah, like,
that's so good. There's so much humility in that too, of just kind of surrendering to the Lord too, of like, I can't get it all right in my teaching to whoever it is, whether it's your kids or your spouse or your friends. But I know, like, if I stay in my lane that God has put me in, and I love the people in it well, and I do the thing He's called me to do, that will rub off on people, that life of intentionality, which is so powerful.
Yeah, especially the kids. Especially kids,
for
they
sure.
are watching everything. Yeah.
All right, so last question is, I hear you are really passionate about foot health.
Yes.
And so much so, your wife told me he may or may not wear shoes to the podcast interview. You do have shoes on. And then I got a little self-conscious about wearing shoes because I didn't know if you were going to judge me for wearing shoes. So just tell us about foot health and your passion for being barefoot majority of the time.
Let me tell you. First of all, I did put on shoes because I saw your first episode, and then y'all, like, I feel like there was a good bit about Caitlin's shoes. And I was like, man, if I go in there barefoot, like,
it's gonna be too much.
I don't know what the look. I don't know like what the vibe is. Like, can I kick my feet up on the couch? Like, this would be a lot of like, if I sat like this, like that'd just be a lot of foot.
A lot of foot
in the picture. Let me tell you, foot health. The shoes that we wear typically are not good for you. You're supposed to be like, you need to feel the earth, you know, like there's like, I think they call it grounding.
They do, yeah.
I don't know if there's like real science to that, like, but it feels good. Like, how many times have you like? I can tell you, like, especially like when I've been like wearing cleats all day and like my feet are all mushed up. Oh. I love just like take them off, get some of those toe spreaders that you girls wear when you paint your toenails. Like,
you put the toe spreaders.
Yeah, sometimes. Feels great, you know. And then just go outside, walk around in the grass a little bit. But there are studies, especially for kids, that it is good for them. It's like it helps them with their development. That's like one of the things that I am very passionate about. Like, my feet are probably like, they're pretty much like messed up, like how they're going to be. I do try to be barefoot as much as I can just because it's fun. And to be honest, it gets a rise out of Natalie. Like when I don't wear shoes to places I should. And like
where are you not wearing shoes to places you should? Like friends' houses or something?
When we went to, our friend's house for game night. And I didn't wear shoes, and she was like, I can't believe you didn't wear shoes.
Like, you didn't even show up in shoes?
I didn't bring them, no.
Oh, wow, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we went to the Olsons for a game night.
Yeah, we did.
And
I didn't even notice.
Ashley wasn't wearing shoes either.
I'm for
people.
It.
Yeah.
I do believe in barefoot is best. We didn't put our daughter in shoes until she was 1.
Yeah.
And even now, I'm like, girl, you got to be barefoot.
Well, have you ever, like, and like when you watch him walk, like even with Deacon, when he puts his shoes on, he like, it's like when you put shoes on a dog and they like clomp around, like you can tell that they don't know what's going on.
Very
like,
unnatural.
Yeah. The kids need to be barefoot. And like,
I totally agree with that.
Even now with Boone, I mean, he's 6. And when he's like barefoot, I feel like he can like run faster. But when and this also might be because he wears Vans, but like when he runs with his Vans, it's just like, it sounds like a horse, like a Clydesdale coming down the street. And I'm like, that can't be good for like
just straight flat bottoms.
Right.
All right. Final question. Outside of all the things that you do, what, just for fun, what are you loving right now?
What am I loving right now? I do love the stage that we're in with the kids, like especially with Boone. Like I said, like it's been cool to see him like finding like what he loves, you know. That's been good. Been trying to read some more lately.
Okay.
But then it's funny because I feel like my entire life I didn't have children or responsibilities, and I was like, I'm not reading. Like,
so much time for reading.
There's so much time for reading. And then like as soon as we start having kids, I'm like,
I should read more.
Books are kind of cool. Like,
that's so much free time to read these books.
And then I'm like, now I don't have any time. Like, so
that's good.
That's what I've been kind of trying to get back into.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. What a joy it's been to talk about all the things. And we are cheering for you and for our Jags this season and believing that we'll see you at the Super Bowl.
That's right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Neighbors is produced by Lager Creative and Taylor Minning. Music by Austin and Lindsay Adamak. Artwork by Wesley Parsons. And motion graphics by Robbie Burns.
Living to love life. Living to love life. You have loved me. You show me brighter days. New mercies every morning. You never shy away to tell me that you're for me. How could I repay this? Whatever can I do but offer